For me, a couple things. Number one, hear me now. This is the best, the absolute best new restaurant in South Florida.
Hello and welcome to a new restaurant review episode. With me today is podcast listener favorite, The Hubs.
Hey everyone.
Today we are featuring Queen, Zeru, Marigolds, Walrus Rodeo, Avra, Calle Dragones, and Matis. There's so much to get to, so let's get to it. Up first, Queen. Located in South Beach. Personally, I was drawn to this one immediately, even though I figured it would be all tiki-tiki and a party scene. But I am a sucker for architecture and Miami history, and this one has both. I had to see the interiors of this remodeled former Art Deco opera house, and so we booked right away in advance. And then I realized, side note, it was going to be spring break when it was too late. Spring break weekend. But we decided to keep the reservation and went for it. So it's located right off the highway, off 5th. So we didn't have to go too much into the beach, but that was 100% a shit show outside. Thankfully, we were able to valet, and once inside, the madness stayed behind. Let's talk about the dress code. Your favorite.
I don't know. Some of these restaurants just try too hard. They're trying too hard. First of all, the valet at this place was a shit show, just like like everything else to get there. It's not their fault that it was.
I was gonna say, do you think it's a shit show because of them or because of the situation going on outside?
I mean, I don't know. There was one guy, and he was literally, trying his best. But when you have one guy in a restaurant of that size, and the valet was only for this restaurant, it was a little bit frustrating. But again, in terms of the dress code, I think this is the one that was it a suit, or even though I wore what you asked me to wear, but everybody else, as usual,
you did good. No,
you always made me get dressed up, and there's always one guy who gets. There's always half of the people in there that get away with it.
But you have to admit that the majority of the people here, it looked nice. Everyone really was dressed up nice, but.
I'm okay with a dress code.
Okay.
But I'm not okay with, you have to wear a jacket, a tie. That's not my idea of, New York gets away with it. California, I'm talking Michelin, of course. New York gets away with it. California had plenty of Michelin, as that's DC, and they don't require it. So there's really no rhyme or reason to require people to wear that business.
I think they really wanted to keep it like an elegant vibe. So the funny part was that the first email I got said, not an email, before I even reserved, right, when I hit to reserve, there was a pop-up confirming that I understood the dress code. Then I got it again in the confirmation email, and then I got a couple of follow-up texts reminding me. So the first one said it had to be formal and elegant. And what they meant by formal was a dinner suit, dress shirt, evening gown. Imagine wearing a gown, cocktail dress, and dress shoes. Like most establishments, it said no shorts, jeans, t-shirts, baseball caps, flip-flops, sportswear, or beachwear. That one I'm used to, but not the evening gown part. And then it said, just to make matters a little more touchy, your reservation is not guaranteed until you and your guests have arrived and adhere to our dress code. That means they give you the once over, and then at the rope outside, make sure that you fit the criteria. However,
right, so I dropped you off and you went in.
But wait, by the time the reservation came around, they switched it to, in order to ensure the most glamorous experience, we advise attire to be fashionable and elegant, and gentlemen are encouraged to wear a blazer and button-down shirt. So no longer did they go with the whole dinner suit and evening gown. They switched it. I don't know what happened, but someone told them, and these
places are a joke, man. These restaurants are ran by clowns. They're clowns. You can't go that far into it. And then I walked in, and the first thing I saw was a group of 5 guys, and one of them was wearing shorts. and all of them were in sneakers, and none of them were in jackets, and there was no glamour in none of them.
I
So
didn't
either
see
you
those
enforce
guys.
it or you don't enforce it.
I
It's
didn't
one
see
or the
those
other.
guys. I wish we would have taken a picture of them because
I
then
remember I pointed it out to you.
I don't remember. I don't remember the guy with the cowboy hat.
Oh, there was yeah, but that's fashionable, I guess. In this,
I mean, that stood out. But I mean, whatever. At least they toned it down. So anyway, I'm happy to say we passed the dress code test. But once we went inside, it really was worth it, to me at least, just to see the interiors. The remodel is absolutely gorgeous, and from an architecture, if you're an architecture buff, you want to see this. So I mean, large and in charge chandeliers, plush velvet banquettes, 26-foot ceilings, gold details everywhere. It sounds gaudy, but it is not. It is very, very well done. But the biggest surprise of all was the rest. It really was not just a pretty face, you have to admit. We actually enjoyed the food, and the service was great. They source from places like Neiman Ranch, and they carry Iberico pork, something for everyone, but mostly seafood heavy. They consider themselves a modern Japanese grill kitchen. It is led by Chef Mitchell Hess of Cote Novico, Suma and Milos, and Chef Julian Juhanad, who comes from Alain Ducasse lineage. So that's pretty good and pretty impressive.
no, the restaurant. There's so many new spots opening up in Miami, and there's so many failures, so many of them. This one, I expected to be kind of like a sexy fish. And when I say that, I mean a restaurant that's more concerned about their ambience than really their food. And this wasn't it. And even sexy fish surprised me to a certain extent. But this one was better. This one was probably half the price as anything you would eat at Sexy Fish.
I make no mistake, it's expensive.
I mean,
It's still
we
expensive.
We paid about $415 for two people.
Okay, yeah.
$78 of which were cocktails. So it's not. I mean, like what I always say. You go to dinner in Miami now, and it's $300-400 with your
Right.
eyes closed.
And we actually ordered as we pleased. Like, we weren't like looking out like, okay, don't order this, don't order that. We just ordered. So
when do we ever do that? When do we
I
look
know,
out?
I know we don't. But what I'm saying is, like, to be able to eat as we wanted until we were full, without looking at price, and it still ended up being less than we expected.
I have a hard time going to Miami Beach. I have a hard time going to
yeah.
Miami Beach and not going to Stubborn Seed if I'm going to go all the way over there.
Of course.
But this one is actually quite. I don't know that I would go just you and I alone to go all the way over there.
I'll say why in a little bit.
But
Surprise!
but in a group of a
Yeah.
few people or whatever, I feel like the restaurant was kind of cool, and we didn't really wait. They didn't make us wait,
No.
which was nice. A lot
Yeah.
of these places they tend to do that.
Well, so the dishes we loved, there were a couple that we loved and ordered right again on the spot, and that was the hamachi tartlet and the avocado tart. We took a bite and we said, "Excuse me, can we get another round of these?" We also had the yuzu salmon wagyu roll. The wagyu roll was okay. The queen's fillet, the miso glazed Chilean sea bass, creamed corn, robata grilled Iberico pork pluma, the mushroom hot pot with black truffle, the robata duck l'orange, the chocolate cake, white chocolate chip cookie, and the Japanese cappuccino, which was hakushu, single malt whiskey ice cream, coffee and cream, and that was delicious. And it says a lot that I would have an entire meal again.
Yeah,
No doubt.
Well, you like this kind of
I do.
cuisine too, so.
So the other big thing here was they do have a time restraint, which it's going to be a repetitive topic, I think, today and when reviewing these restaurants. But the reservation lists a 2-hour limit to your table. Well, we never felt rushed, and we did overstay by about a half hour. And we had to give the entire order in the beginning. I made sure they were okay coursing it out and that they weren't going to overlap, and they did not. And there was no issue ordering any repeats, even though we had already placed our order as we went along. The service flowed without any hiccups. The music, there was a bit of tiki-tiki while we dined, but it wasn't too loud, and I suspect it does get louder as the night goes on. But we were done by 10, and it was nice. It wasn't wasn't overpowering.
Usually restaurants that demand a time restraint are the ones that screw it up for the guests.
Yeah.
By taking forever to come to the table, by
Right.
taking forever to bring the food, and then when they bring the food, they bring all 19 dishes at the same time. Very, very used to that kind of service in South Florida nowadays. But this one wasn't it. This one, they did a great job, I have to admit.
Yeah, and at the top of my list is actually to return for their new queen omakase. That's why I said we'll go alone. Yeah, it's headed by Chef Max Kamakura, who was the opening chef of Nosa when it first opened, and we absolutely loved his food while he was there. We were big fans.
The only chef Nosa's ever had. Whoa!
And that will be the next time we go. Okay, parking. We already talked about valet, or good luck finding parking on Washington Avenue. And wine, you said we had cocktails, so we didn't.
At least they have valet, Jeremy.
Ooh, Jeremy. All right, up next, Zeru. What's the score for Zeru, honey? 0 for Zeru.
Yeah.
For me, 2. I ignored any mention of this restaurant initially when I saw it on social media or articles or whatnot. But then I took a close look at the Basque menu and I thought, it looked well put together. So I figured I decided to go for it. It reminded me a little bit of Leku, which I love. It's located in Brickell in the lobby of a hotel. It was absolutely packed, not with New Yorkers. This crowd was old school, Miami money, Gables types. Many families with the abuelas and the grandkids. A lot of double cheek kissing with managers and staff. Like they've been there for years, but it just opened. Our first hiccup was being escorted to the absolute worst table in the entire restaurant in a corner, flushed with 2 walls and out of the flow of the other tables. And looking around, actually, there really wasn't anywhere else that could sit us. Most of the tables had large parties, and all the other 2 tops were taken. But I felt so special being the token chosen one for the awful table, and under that terrible spotlight as well. It was awful. The space appears larger than it is because of the high ceilings, but it's actually not too big. The branding and decor remind me of Bazaar Mar. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Oh, I miss Bazaar Mar. It's pretty with hues of blues, whites, and wood paneling. I sat there for a good 15 minutes complaining about the table just because I wasn't happy. On the way to the table, though, before, they offered us a slice of cinco jotas jamon. So there's someone there with a slicer, and they give you a nice little bite before you go sit, hopefully at a better table than ours.
Look, the restaurant, again, for me, it's a broken record. Another beautiful new restaurant in South Florida. How many of these are going to open without any kind of, in my opinion at least, with any kind of special touch? I mean, yeah, okay, they gave us a little bit of a piece of ham on the way there.
Ham. Cinco jotas, honey.
Yeah, but
Okay.
I mean, they have no
I get it.
business having that as a table. They should just put like a service
A
table
plant.
in that corner.
Yeah. Right, that
and
was part
use
of the
it.
thing. Yeah, we
And-
were
well, it
near
was
like a
that-
service thing.
That service table was actually right behind me, where they were plating
Yes.
or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you know me. You tell me where we're going. I don't have an opinion. I just look online.
You do have an opinion. You just tell me. You just
No,
wanna go
because if
sit.
I had an opinion, we'd just go out to my favorite 10 restaurants and we wouldn't go to all these
That's
new
not
ones.
true. I always ask you, what do you think? And you say, just make it, Bren. I don't care, Bren. Just make the damn reservation.
It's just a dumb, another dumb way of running a restaurant. You open a new restaurant. I'm a wine guy. I don't find a wine list online. I call you. You say that, we're still building it. We really can't email it to you or whatever. And by the way, you're not allowed to bring your own wine. So I'm going to a dinner
Blind.
without having a clue as to
Right.
whether I'm having wine because I don't know what your wine list looks like. And not able to actually prepare and look and research and decide what I'm going to drink ahead of time. So that alone, we ended up ordering a Burgundy, a 2018 Burgundy. It retailed for $64, and we paid.
Really? That's the retail?
Yeah, so it wasn't whatever. We paid $225. Typical,
Ouch.
almost 4 times the markup. No, I mean, but that's normal. So they didn't. They really had the their wine list was lacking in good vintages. Everything seemed to be
Right.
like 4 or 5 years old, no more than that. And so when that happens, I always stick to Burgundy. I feel it's a wine that can be consumed rather young and is still very enjoyable.
So we started ordering. So the first thing we ordered off the menu was a spider crab. It's a saucy dip that comes with what's supposed to be pan cristal. The problem is that this dip was very saucy, so it was very liquidy, and the bread, which is supposed to be pan cristal, which is like crisp, it had it had the characteristic of this particular way that they make their air quotes pan cristal. It had a bunch of holes. So what do you think happens when you put a dip that's not thick? It's just saucy. Just everything was going through the holes, and it's $34 because of the crab. So then I mentioned it to the waiter. I said, well, first, it doesn't look or taste like any pan cristal I've ever had. But the sauce is going through the bread, which he could not care less. Basically, like, take the $34 and shove it and keep it. And they didn't care. So then he offered the sourdough bread. So that one was actually really nice. We actually used that sourdough to scrape up the dip, and we had to leave the pan cristal. It came with a smoked butter. It was nice, just baked, delicious. But that was a $34 mistake right off the bat. We had the pata negra parmesan croquetas. Those were good. Octopus was a chewy mess of $24. That's a no.
I will say, like I always say, octopus is one of those. I'm not a chef, but it just seems to be a very difficult ingredient because very, very few people.
Nobody could get it right for us. I don't know.
Very, very few people can.
Then they have the socarrats, which are the paella style. It comes in the big beautiful pans. That was okay. It was an Alaskan king crab and saffron. That was nice. And what we liked the most was the prime bone in ribeye, 18 ounces. That was actually a surprise. We weren't expecting at this seafood heavy place to enjoy the ribeye, but we did. And then the desserts, we went with both fondants, which were essentially 2 naked cakes with fillings, in air quotes, fillings. And one had manchego cheese and vanilla ice cream, and the other, air quotes again, dulce de leche, not really, and banana ice cream. So that was not dulce de leche. It was just soupy, again, just like liquidy. So when you cut it open, this liquid came out, but it wasn't like creamy like you would expect to like ooze out because it's so creamy and silky. It was just because it was liquidy, like watery, came out. And then the you could see the cake shell outside was not even barely a 1/4 inch thick. It was a disaster. Manchego one tasted a little better and looked a little more presentable and creamy, but at that point we were over it, right? I was just over it. I was over the table, over everything, and I think we wanted to go out. We wanted to leave. So, but then the worst part was that after this $663 dinner, we had that little manager encounter. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
So yeah. I walk out in front of the hubs. He's behind me, and I just want to get out. And but this manager is schmoozing with a couple of
people at the bar.
Yeah, he's just schmoozing with some other diners, and he kind of like half-assed turns around to me and says, "Hey, how was everything?" To which I gave a like shrug, and I just kind of grimaced, and I was like, "Yeah, okay." And you said, like, I think you were like you told him good, but like good as in like, okay, just leave me alone. I don't want to talk to you. Good. I made it a point to kind of be like, okay, like made a face like, no, I didn't like it, and he didn't care. He kind of looked. He was a little confused and caught off guard. Didn't know what to do and just turned and kept talking to the people at the bar. I was like, awesome. If I'm the manager or someone, I want people to say, if you give me anything less than like an enthusiastic, like great, or even a happy good, which was very far from what I said.
He was busy doing the Miami thing by the bar.
There was a lot of Miami things going on with the managers. Like I said, the air kisses and all this stuff. But yeah, and then at that point it was really like, okay, bye. We're done. We are done with Zeru. So yeah, we're not running back there.
I'd rather not.
I'd rather not. All right. Up next, marigolds. The long-awaited return to mainstream Miami by Chef Bradley Kilgore. We took a bit to go visit, and we finally made it in. It's located in Wynwood, also in a hotel lobby. Entrance is kind of weird. It's either off to the side or through the hotel lobby, but then you have to walk across the bar to reach the hostess stand. A little weird there. Not a big deal. In case you live under a rock, way before Michelin, if there was ever a chef that received enough accolades and nods to earn a place on the Michelin Guide, it's Bradley Kilgore with his then restaurant, Alter. COVID messed everything up. The restaurant closed. He went to work at a private venue, not accessible to regular Miami diners. And I feel like he was away so long that there was a whole new generation of diners who actually don't know who he is. Sometimes, sometimes I mention it and they're like, who? He is having to, in a way, establish himself within the city again, a new beginning. And even saying that is weird, but it's true. But to us, it's weird.
He obviously, well, it was Michael Shikani and Bradley Kilgore were the two chefs that were really driving the Miami dining scene before it became what it is today. And they were actually both very close to each other in Wynwood.
Yeah.
I know Bradley I think he had some private projects going on during COVID and then post-COVID. But yeah, I mean, he was a longtime favorite, so we're sort of just waiting to see, what was next for him. I miss, of all of his, was it Ama?
Oh yeah, Ama. That was amazing.
That was my favorite of his restaurants.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ama and Kaido and Ember and Alter. And so we ended up doing a combination of both available tasting menus. It was a ton of food, and I'm not going to list it all because it really was a lot. But I would say either tasting menu it's a good option. It's a way to go. The portions are not tiny, so even though it's a tasting menu. So you will be full, even if you do the smaller one. When we went, there was a $90 menu and a $140 menu. Marigold is meant to be a Florida-inspired brasserie. Has a bohemian, old Florida feel to me. Open kitchen. It actually reminded me more of his Ember concept than Alter. It's fine $90, but not at the Alter level, which was more avant-garde and groundbreaking with a lot of tweezer action. And it's probably not fair to compare the two, but I feel it goes hand in hand. You know, you say Kilgore and everyone's wondering if it's like Alter. And everyone that dined at Alter wants to know what to expect. Our highlights from here: the oxtail beignets, the layered brioche, so good. The fennel Poland Caesar salad. I know I'm saying a salad is one of the highlights, but it brings a peppercorn vinaigrette, a ribolina tortellini with black Perigord truffle, the grouper al pastor, which is huge because we don't typically like hot fish. This was excellent. The mashed potatoes, of course, his mashed potatoes always rock, and the pistachio leches. So, despite this new arrival, the menu felt tight and executed nicely by the team in place. We had at least another 7 courses I didn't even list. Everything was good, and these were just the standouts.
Well, everything was good, and there were some great dishes as well. I'm not surprised that he was running the restaurant as if it had been open for years, because that's just him. Mm-hmm. He's obviously extremely talented, he's a really, really good chef, obviously. Remember the guy that came to introduce himself, then we found out we knew him. I guess he's the head, the chef de cuisine, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah. Zev,
I think,
Zev with a V, yeah.
So, there's a lot.
He comes from Stubborn.
Correct.
Yeah.
There's a lot that goes on with Bradley. I mean, I remember we went to a restaurant, which I think we're reviewing today, where half his staff was there, right? Walrus?
Yeah, Walrus. Oh, yeah, I didn't even mention that.
So it's kind of like, there's a lot of chefs and...
Well, like I said, he was trailblazing before there was any...
Well, he had 4 restaurants, too. So there's going to be a lot of Alter Bradley connections all over the state. So it was nice to see him come in. Yeah. I think the main difference, Alter was a very small, dark, very lightly lit on purpose kind of place, and this is the complete opposite. This is a lobby, kind of very, very bright, very I don't
think it was that bright. You thought it was really bright?
Yeah, I mean, compared to Alter.
Oh, well, yeah.
So I liked it. I liked it a lot. I like him. I like supporting him. So I'm sure we'll be back.
Okay, wine. I don't remember.
We had cocktails. We started with 2 glasses of champagne.
Yeah.
I don't remember why. I think I had a race or an event the next day.
Oh, you were doing the.
So I didn't want to drink.
Okay.
So I think we had. He treated us with some bubbly at the beginning.
You did.
and then you had a cocktail, and that was it for for that.
I need to take better notes of all these cocktails I have. I never really pay attention to any of them. But okay, service was excellent, and this is one I think we will absolutely return and follow its growth, and one we are happy to support, and you should support it too. Yes?
Absolutely.
Speaking of Walrus Rodeo. Oh, Walrus. This is Boyade's rebellious little sibling. It's right next door. They take a curious approach to branding, and in my opinion, they're trying hard to not try hard with everything, including their interiors. I'm not a fan of the ink sketches they're using for branding, to be honest. A bunch of random suns and clouds, plus human silhouettes as if drawn by a 4-year-old on a napkin. Sorry, guys, not a fan. Same thing for the font. It's almost like, and I can't help, I noticed all these things.
I have no idea what you're talking about, so...
I have to show you the pictures of the menu, and I noticed all these little things. I don't understand it, but again, it's that whole thing of like, I feel like too cool for school. We're trying hard to just, we don't care, we don't try hard, but then they do because I noticed them. The interiors are all over the place, a complete afterthought. There's even a bathroom with iridescent pink and blue hues with little cloud, I think there's clouds, like gel stick-ons, like little gel stick-ons in the bathroom. It looks like a teenager's bathroom. Then by the entrance is a random Western wallpaper, but it has like little hidden surfers and out-of-place caricatures in it. So I'm not into it at all. Sorry, not sorry. However, thankfully, the full attention has gone to the food, the service, and the wine list. So if you could overlook, like my husband, everything else, or not even notice it like I did, then you're doing good. And so the fact that they got the food service and wine list and they're doing good, okay, that's not an easy task in Miami. Kudos for that. Another one you can't help but compare between Boyade and Walrus, but despite the buzzy dining room and hard to score reservations, I don't think it's quite up there to Boyade standards yet. But at the end of the day, despite the interiors, I do look forward to following this journey because I think it has a lot of potential.
I thought it was a very casual place to go eat, and I'm sure much easier to score a reservation there. Well, I know for a fact. No, it's gotta be. I mean, Boyade, if you like 30 days out, you better be on that reservation on that day to be able to score a reservation 30 days out. Very different restaurants, but overall I liked it. I again, with the wine, for me it's a big deal. They had a really
the sum was great.
The sum and the waiter was excellent for us. Again, we go early because of the whole kids situation. So a lot of times, you know, when we talk about these restaurants, we might be like one of the first. Like we're certainly the first wave. So when that happens, I feel like you could skip a lot of problems. So the waiter was great. The sum was great. We ended up buying a Syrah from Crozes Rhone, a 2010 Syrah. It was $120. I liked it so much. During the dinner, I looked it up and was able to find 6 bottles of the wine online, and I was able to buy 6 bottles, and they were excellent. You know, we're still consuming them as of I think last week we had one. So really nice wine list. I'm not surprised, right? Because even though he said it was completely different composition of the wine list, 2 different people composing the wine list, one from this restaurant and one from Boyade. Both of them have excellent. Yeah,
but different because this was more boutique. I think higher end wine. Go figure. I think the other one's more.
I think Boyade has a lot of like.
Well,
natural, and so a lot of people really, including myself, don't really know much about it. But overall, I mean, listen, if you're asking me which one I'd rather go to Boyade.
Right. Well, food wise, and then wine wise, I like the other list better. But
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so then the highlights for us, there were 3 highlights. We have the carrot tartare. That was really weird. It's cold, right? It was cold.
Yeah.
But nice. It comes with a salsa verde. Sounds weird, but it's very good. The mustard greens lasagna. I understand we just got lucky and they don't always have that on the menu. So if they have it, you have to order it. It has a lamb ragu and it was exceptional. And then the greenhorn za, as in pizza. They're so cool over there. Anyway, great job with all the pizzas. I ate it right down to the crust and everything. That's how you know they're doing a good job when I eat all of it and I don't leave any part of the pizza out.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
I mean,
it
it's
was
a great
fun.
experience. Easy parking because it's in a strip mall, so it's free. Never a problem. And I feel they're going to be around for a while. It's just it's a good price point. Paid like $385, but 120 of which were wine related. So not an expensive restaurant in today's standards, by today's standards. And so, and like you said, half the kitchen was at it. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, you said, you remember that. I had forgotten that part. Right, because I recognized, I was like, that guy used to work. Remember we made a bet and then we asked the guy?
Yeah.
You said, no, he doesn't. I'm like, did he work at Alter? Yep. So yeah, that was nice knowing that he had that, they have that kitchen staff.
The head chef,
yeah.
the main guy, yeah.
That was great. So yeah, we're fans, just not a fan of everything else. When we finish recording, I'm going to show you what I'm talking about with the menu and just childish. Like they could do something so nice, but anyway. Up next, Avra. Avra is in Sunny Isles at the Aqualina Residences. It's definitely one of those see and be seen spots. We went because we have always loved the New York location. I think they have two. Was the one we used to go to Broadway? I don't remember.
I think the one we used to go to is the
by the
older
theater.
location, and I think it closed. And now they open in New York in a much bigger, more prominent area, I
Really?
think.
Okay.
I think.
I haven't checked that. Anyway, so we had to check it out because we were fans and we thought it might be a good addition. So ultimately, I don't know. I think it was a one and done place only because it's an outside concept, but we'll see. The seating is kind of like a T. So you have the entrance. Let's say that would be like the bottom of the T. It's a hall. It's a like a rectangular. It's all booths with view to the kitchen. And with a view to the kitchen, and then they have bougainvillea laced wood ceiling. It's very pretty. And of course, they walked us right past that pretty part. You will not be sitting in this pretty part. You see it? You're not sitting here. Oh no. We're not having luck with the seating. They walked us to the most random corner again in the part of the T, the top of the T.
Yeah, but not nearly as bad a table as the one.
Oh no, Zeru was awful. This was better than Zeru, but it was
a corner table. It's fine.
No, it was like they walked and walked and walked and walked. I'm like, are we getting to our table at any point?
It's a large restaurant, and even though it was a table against the wall, I didn't face the wall, right? I was able to actually sit
Correct.
and enjoy. Because half the time, whenever we get a table, I'm always
just looking
at
at
the
me.
wall.
What's wrong with looking at me?
So here
ignore
it was nice.
Okay, at least this time we were in a booth. It was a nice booth. It's the upper part, like I would say, like the top part of the T. So that one overlooks the outside area. Although it's too far to get a good ocean view. I've seen the ocean view mentioned in a few write-ups, and yeah, I mean, if you have binoculars, maybe you could see the ocean. High ceilings. Talk about a bright room. A very, very bright room. Clearly, this one's gonna be seafood heavy. You can go choose your fish. It's flown in weekly. That's part of one of the draws. It's but note that the price is listed by pound, and most are around $54 to $149 per pound. So be careful because they're not always a pound. so it happened to us. I forgot which one we had.
No, but I mean
I like the concept.
The space is beautiful.
Yeah.
Another Miami restaurant where they spend millions of dollars on. I don't quite remember what was there before. Was it that Italian one?
Well, I don't know if it connects because we went to that other restaurant on the other side,
right?
And this is the Residences, so I don't know if this one connected
just
at the time.
Typical, just large, big, incredibly well put together. They spend, like I said, millions.
Yeah,
on
they
this
did spend
restaurant.
a lot.
So buzzing. You got to go through the bar or right next to the bar, and there's like a million people as usual. And we went early.
About the bar, yeah.
And we went early. So, and the whole, you could choose your fish. That's not new. That was Avra in New York.
Right.
And
but listeners don't know that.
So just, you go, you choose your fish. You ask, the guy knew a lot about all the fishes. Well, you went, I didn't go.
Did.
But
yeah, I walked with him.
And certainly it can be weighed, and then you will know exactly what you're paying for.
Right. I guess that's something to ask, yeah. So we had the caviar and fingerling potato starter, the grilled octopus. Oh, their octopus was good.
Yes.
They nailed it, yeah. The halloumi, a romaine salad with caper dressing. Again, another salad, but this was really good. The Avra chips, which are essentially thinly sliced crispy zucchini and eggplant, and then they kind of stack them like a little tower. That was fun to eat, and they were good as well. I had the lamb, which was good. The fish that we did order by the pound, I think it was maybe dorado. I don't know. I don't remember which fish it was.
You chose it. So
I know. It comes charcoal grilled, deboned with their signature sauce. Although mine did have a ton of bones in it. I know that always happens to me.
Yep.
Then dessert, it was an orange cake, an olive oil cake, and the house made yogurt. Yeah, I guess we ordered all this, but honestly, I would say everything was pretty good. I just don't know if we're gonna go out of our way to come back.
Well, that's why we always overorder, because you don't know if you're coming back.
Right. So we try it, and we don't know. But I don't remember bringing anything back. So I think we ate everything.
Yeah.
But it's a New York concept, go try it if you're in the area, or if you need a good restaurant in the area. I guess that will be like the telling factor. If for whatever reason we need somewhere in the area.
It's another restaurant that would be nice to go with a group.
We just wanted to check it out. So now it's like check, done, next.
It's a $75 corkage fee. I brought wine, but I grabbed the wrong vintage.
Yes.
And I grabbed I meant to grab a 2006, and I grabbed a 2016. And when I got there, I really didn't want to open the bottle at a 2016, so we ordered off the menu. As an aside, I don't always bring my wine, even if I'm permitted to do so, in exchange for a corkage. If you have an online wine list, I will look at it, and if I feel I like something, I'll even call ahead and make sure you have the bottle if I find it to be somewhat reasonably priced. This is yet another Miami restaurant that's going way out of its way to pretend to be so great at everything, and they can't even post the freaking wine list online. I mean, it's a joke. The lack of detail when it comes to that, it just. But again, it's not just them. We ordered a 2010 Left Bank Bordeaux. Paid $195 for it. It retailed for about $75. So the typical, not terrible. Right. Yeah, 3 times markup. So it was nice.
Cool. So yeah,
another $700 dinner.
Yikes! But he's not bitter at all. No. All right. Up next. Ooh, Calle Dragones. This one is interesting, and from social media alone, I am seeing that it might be a little misunderstood. So let's give them, or at least our perspective. So it's right by Café La Trova in La Calle Ocho. Chef Luis Pous brings this concept. It's a concept he's always dreamed of doing here in Miami. It highlights the flavors inspired by Cuba's Chinatown. Okay, the goal here is to envision what could have been if Cuba had been granted the freedom to embrace its culinary potential all these years versus the misery that currently exists today. It is not a clubstaurant. It is a cabaret with an immersive dinner theater experience. The decor, it's old school Havana, a lot of pinks and greens, but also rich red velvet touches and large crystal chandeliers everywhere. We sat in the mezzanine, which we didn't love. So I don't know if I would suggest that unless you're doing like a private party, then it's a great spot. We felt the table was a tad too small for our party. See, again, no luck with the seating this last couple of months. And because we weren't by the actual balcony, we were against the back of the wall. We couldn't really see as much. We had to kind of stand up. But next time for sure, I think I prefer downstairs. The band during our visit, they delivered a stellar performance of old Havana tunes, authentic ones. It seems they have different themes nightly. So like salsa Saturdays, I think they have like a flamenco Thursdays. This one was Friday and more ballads and older songs. I was personally super nostalgic all night. We happened to drive by one of the first places I lived when I lived in Little Havana with my parents months after arriving in the U.S. So for me, the contrast that was of what was like then and versus now dining there as an adult had me all in my feelings, plus all the wine I was drinking. But anyway, aquí no hay tiki-tiki, so no clubstaurant or bottle service, bro. Okay, none of that. Although the band does encourage diners to get up and dance as it gets later, so it's a nice vibe. The food is fun and lands somewhere between comfort eats and fine dining, and it is best enjoyed, in my opinion, as a large party so that you can try more items.
Another restaurant where clearly the vibe is at the top of whatever they're trying to achieve. But not surprisingly, with a chef who we have followed and somewhat have wished
now.
that he opened something for a while now, because I know that for a while he's been kind of assisting opening restaurants, other people's restaurants.
Consultant, yeah.
15
15 years we've been following him.
Yeah, I'm glad he was able to open not just any restaurant, but his dream concept. So I'm not surprised in this particular instance that he nailed the food, because he is at the end of the day, he is a great chef.
He used to work at Little Palm Island.
He even cooked at our house once. So very happy to support him. Very happy to say that as much as I don't enjoy these concepts, I just want that's why I like New York so much. That's why I like DC so much. I just want a clean. Don't give me a vibe. Just give me the
Right.
nice ambiance, the nice service, the outstanding wine list, and a great experience.
I mean, it's up to us. We chose to go there.
So, but that's what I'm saying.
We chose to go to these vibey places.
He delivered. And by the way, I'll say that he opened across the street from La Trova.
Yeah.
And to open across the street from La Trova, in very different concept, but the idea of having a live band and the music and the vibe, it's pretty much identical. And in terms of what they're trying to achieve, and he blew La Trova out of the water. Like, just,
oh yeah,
my lord, his food is so elevated compared to what you have at La Trova.
La Trova wishes it was.
Yeah, he nailed it.
Yeah.
He absolutely nailed it.
Yeah. So our favorites were the maripositas chinas with lechon cubano inside. They have a caramelized octopus. He nailed the octopus, and it comes with this mashed yuca underneath. Oh, that was so good. I kept with the spoon, scraping the plate. I think after when we go dine and then I come back and I look at my pictures and the descriptions, I think I didn't realize how much I really love the congri and the short ribs vaca frita. It's actually a risotto congri concept with short ribs vaca frita. I really, really like that one. Also, it came at the end, so we were also very full. But I love that one. It comes with avocado and an onion mojo, the Caribbean lobster. It brings a yuzu kosho miso butter and crab meat, and it already comes sectioned off, so all you have to do is pick it up and eat it. The flat iron steak, which comes in a little small portable grill, and we had 3 of the fried rice. They offer all 3 of them, and we love them all.
Yeah, I mean, the food was excellent. The service started a little shaky, but she was absolutely excellent after that. Was very, very, very good at handling. We brought some whales. I mean, the wines that we brought were very, very high-end wines.
It was $50.
And I don't know.
I remember.
We brought 3. We were 6 people. We brought 3 bottles. I know you're not allowed to bring as many as we did, but
we got it pre-approved.
But the chef pre-approved it, so I don't. You have to check with that if you decide to go with a large party. But they have excellent cocktails. I thought the wine list was lacking, but again, I'm a bit of a wine snob. But it's an excellent place to have cocktails, and because the food lends itself to be paired with some nice cocktails. But we had some great wine. Service was great. The lady did a great job handling the 3 bottles.
And the 6 of us.
And it's one of those places that, again, I think I would rather be downstairs so we could, enjoy, or get the table right against the railing. Which when we got there, I thought it was a bigger table, and I asked for it, and the lady told me that it was reserved. And I think
it stayed empty for an hour and a half.
Yeah. So
and that was then part of the issue here, which I know they're trying to work on, but it's the time restraint thing again. So I know because I mentioned it to the chef. I know they're trying to find a way to please everyone. But initially they had told us it was an hour and a half for a party of 6. That would not have worked, especially our group. We like to go and dine and drink and eat. For us, it's a leisure thing. We're not there to just eat because we're hungry and we're leaving, especially after we're driving almost an hour from Broward. But we were about to start desserts at around the hour and a half mark. So it ended up being at Queen. We ended up staying an extra half hour. And at which point we would have kept ordering drinks, but they asked us for the table. So it's fine. We tried the bar, but it was crowded and hot because it actually opens to the street. So instead we walked to Café La Trova. So instead of staying, we ended up having to go across the street to Café La Trova so we continue our night. So I'm not sure what the answer is for them. I know that not every party is the same. I know we would have, I feel like our party would have spent enough to warrant staying longer at the table. In fact, we had 2 tables, 2 other parties come and go next to us while we were dining there, and they barely ordered anything. They were large parties, and they had just a couple dishes and they left. So make note of that when you reserve. Know that your table might be limited. But overall, a fun concept, and I'm looking forward to a return visit.
I understand what's happening there, because we go to restaurants all the time, obviously, and we dine and we usually over order. And as we sit there, table after table after table, they get seated, they finish, and they leave, and they barely eat, and they have 2 cocktails. And so I understand that.
So when making a reservation, how do we tell a restaurant, hey, we're not those people?
Right, but
it's hard.
Right, so because you can't, I understand why the restaurants they need to keep moving tables, because if you go there and you tie up a table for 4 hours and your check is, $300, they lost money that night.
I know that we would never sit at a table just, playing with our phones. We would never do that.
But that's
I know, but I'm just telling the listeners that.
So I understand their issue, especially at a place like this where there's a band and there's entertainment. People might turn to stay longer,
right?
And if you're not drinking or eating or whatever, then I can see the problem. But you can handle that. You can move people to the bar, offer them a free drink at the bar or something, and hope that although their bar I thought was quite small.
Well, we didn't stay at the bar because we didn't.
It was packed.
It was packed and it was hot, and then so we went to La Trova like that. So
we walked to La Trova and.
Yeah. So that's where we ended our night.
Overall, I think, again, one of those places, if I can get a group together.
Right. I just don't know how to make it known. Okay, we will be there. We will order. I promise we will make it worth. Just let us sit as long as we want. But all right. So anyways, we do look forward to returning. It's definitely a special place, and I hope everyone tries it. Up next, say hello to Matis. We are so excited and and in love with this newcomer, Comida Criolla Peruana by Chef Valerie Chang, part of the Chang Gang of Itamae and B-Side Sushi. I don't know why I expected this to be a small place. It's not, maybe because Itamae and I don't know, they're all smaller, but it's not at all. It's in Midtown, and wow, has that area changed. It's across the street from Sugarcane and the old Bochi Bar. Remember Bochi Bar? Shout out Nunzio. Yep. People watching for days. We had a great table by a window, so we were looking outside the whole time.
All the dogs.
All the dogs, all the models, all the people. It was really entertaining. The experience left me wondering, why is it not called Casa Matis? Because I honestly felt like I was dining in the abuelita's home. She named this place after her grandmother. It's in honor of her grandmother, and she grew up obviously eating her food. Despite the size, I still felt like it was an intimate experience. Super criollo food with a festive ambience that picked up steam as the night went on. The playlist was crazy good, and it changed all night from more mellow to dance tune. But don't make a mistake, no tiki-tiki here. This was all Latin tunes, and I could not stop dancing in my seat and singing while I ate.
For me, a couple things. Number one, hear me now. This is the absolute best new restaurant in South Florida. There's nothing, I'm sure that if I go back and I remember where I've gone this year, I'm sure there are some contenders, but at least coming from what I remember right now as I sit here, this is the best restaurant in South Florida. And for me, it's all a combination of ambience, service, obviously food, budget, and wine list. And when you put all of those things together, I thought, and by the way, this is a female chef.
Woo woo!
And there aren't too many of those in South Florida. She is rocking it. This restaurant is it's just absolutely awesome.
Our favorites were their tortitas de maíz, hot and rich, perfect for eating alone or as a vessel to any of the sauces, or even the ceviche. The prawns, the fried chicken was insane. Make sure you order a side of white beans and rice. I don't even think they have that on the menu, the rice, but I asked, and they said it brings the choclo inside. So good. And then the arroz con pato won overall for me. Probably going on my top 30 bites list this year.
Amazing.
That rice that comes with a pato, and oh my God, it's so perfect. Made with love, sealed with soul is my tagline for Matis. Service was casual but great, and again, it felt like family. Like I felt it was casual but just so much fun.
It was phenomenal. Like I said, from beginning to end, It was absolutely phenomenal. We did get lucky to get a good table because we
Yeah.
did go early. If you're sitting in the middle of the restaurant, obviously you're not going to have the same kind of experience. The tables are a bit close to each other in the middle part of the restaurant. But
Dine early, friends.
Yeah, I loved everything about it.
I like how halfway through dinner you kind of stopped. I like when you've done that a couple of times, and where you stop and you say,
Shit's good.
well, like when we went to Tambourine, you did it too. You stopped midway and you said, "This is really damn good."
Yeah, well, when you know it's good, it's good.
Yeah, I like that. And then
I took a bottle. I don't remember why exactly, but I did take a bottle.
bottles, bro.
I thought it was a $15 corkage fee. I never looked at the receipt
that one.
when I paid for this meal.
told you it was 50.
So I think you said you thought it was 50. Either
Yeah.
way, that's fine. I mean, 15 sounds 1.5 sounds very cheap
Right.
for South Florida and a restaurant
Yeah.
of that quality. So I'm sure it was 50. Like I said, I didn't really look, but even with the corkage fee, I mean, we got out of there for $250 for that kind of food,
Yeah.
that amount of food, that quality, that ambiance. Absolutely perfect in my eyes.
Yeah, cheers to Matis.
Yeah, when are we going back? Like in 2 years?
Well, we don't have reservations yet for this weekend. Shocker. So, I want to try the lunch. They have a new lunch menu, which is different items than are on the menu now. So they have like sandwiches, and we need to try that lunch whenever you want. You just have to speak up. If not, I'm gonna take you somewhere else, somewhere new.
I have a list
You don't have a list. You're full of shit. You don't have
I
a
have a
list.
list.
What list? A list of what?
of restaurants I want to go back to.
You do? You're
Yes.
such a liar.
All right.
Such a liar.
Okay.
I mean, I have a list of places.
Father's Day is coming, right? So
Yeah, and I keep sending you stuff, and you keep.
you send me an email from the surf club. It ain't Mother's Day. It's Father's Day. That's your favorite restaurant, not mine.
But
Although
the surf
I do
club-
love the surf club.
Okay.
I do.
Okay. You every time I send you an email, you send it back with a smart remark. Maybe if Mati send me an email,
There you go.
then I'll send it to you. All right. Okay. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you have enjoyed listening to this or any other episode, please share it with your friends or on social media. Spread the word. And thank you so much, Hubs, for joining me again today. You know how much you love being here.
Thank you for having me.
Always
and
a pleasure.
Let's go Heat.
Woo! Hasta la próxima, y'all. Bye bye.